Facebook, hey Instagram, we're live. And I got to talk about tonight that the fact that the self awareness piece, the self reflection is not enough. It's not. We can't get into this mode of believing that we have done all the work, the grounding, the journaling, the rescripting, the paying attention to our thoughts. It can only take us too far. Like, that's not enough. We can't do all the things. So, now we got to get into tonight about how reflection is not a standalone thing that you can do on your own to really make the change. Because, like, life is still going to be where it is. You're still going to be giving and overextending of yourself. And then your old inner child thoughts, the narratives that are playing, are not going to like apply anymore. Like, you're growing. So why shouldn't you adjust? If we're working the grace method right, quote unquote, right, where it's beneficial to you and you are shedding all those unhealthy people, places, and things, then you know that that's the progress. If we're working it right, then it may not be that much of a shift. But just let's face it, like, that may be my privilege talking, where life is the same triggering events. I can put on my mask and be okay for everyone else. I'm guilty of that. And then take care of everybody else. It's my job, it's my occupation. I'm a nurturer, I'm a mom, right? And then when I get somewhere and I'm not okay, then I forget who I am. I forget how strong I am and how smart I am. I don't necessarily adjust the way I'm supposed to. So we're going to talk a little bit about that dance tonight. I'm going to show you how to align your life with your actual needs. And that doesn't mean that I'm here to help you adjust in that you are learning how to appease the traumatized child so that they keep doing what they've always done. We talked about self sabotage last week. And we're going to get into how to use the grace method so that you are learning how, and like the so what of of it all, right? So, like, let's adjust because you're doing a lot of things, we're overextending ourselves. So we're going to get into that tonight. And then I'm going to give you a funny story because I use the grace method every day. I have to, right? I don't give you or take you to any place that I've never been. I don't give you stuff that I don't use. It is tried and true. Okay, so I'm gonna share a little funny story with you. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if I invited someone for like a live coaching session with me? I want to do that. So I want to make sure that y'all know what my vibe is. I'm going to invite you to a private cohort where we get to have like dialogue and groups within this like-minded space of other people who want to do the work that you're doing. I mean, let's face it, doing the work, you can't do that alone. We can't have shame and community at the same time, which is really nice. So I'm hoping to provide that for you. And so if I'm going to invite you to do that with me, to have a live coaching session, we'll talk about you DMing me later. And then we'll go there. I'm so excited. Hey, you guys, I see you on IG. I'm going to try to focus. I have notes per usual because I need those things. So if I haven't said this, and if you're new to my page, I'm CJ. I'm Christian Jackson. I'm the Daddy Issues Therapist, and I am proud to be ahead of this movement of I'm going to learn how to take care of myself, be responsible for myself, not in the way that I'm hyper independent, but I know who I am, again, awareness, but we're not doing that as a standalone. We're talking about how you pivot and use the things that come at you to your good. Attachment is my game. I'm the daddy issues therapist for a reason because I know how important that initial relationship is. I've shared that in my books. You can go look at my website and try to figure it out in terms of how the grace method applies to you to overcome attachment, to overcome everything that comes your way in terms of relationships that are super triggering. Like, do you deal with abandonment? Do you deal with the rejection issues like I do still at 39, still having read and wrote the book and read all the self help? Like, do you still deal with that? Yes, right? That's the thing that just comes with being alive. So I'm hoping that you guys interact with me today. You can ask me some live questions. It's a good time. I will not be before you long. I'm here to give you things to chew on and come back. And as a quick review, what we did last week was talk about what I like to think of as the meat of therapy when I'm practicing. It is definitely the meat, I think, of any kind of self help work when you are paying attention to your thoughts. You got to know what you're telling yourself. So, where you started, that awareness piece. And again, we're going to take it to the next level because it's nice to know what you've been hanging on to, your core beliefs that are informing all of your moves. But then what? Like, what do you do? So, we're going to get into that today. So, I think I talked a little bit about last week, not last week, about 2 weeks ago, giving up pieces of myself to find PEACE, to find peace. It's an illusion of me being in control, right? It's not necessarily a thing. I don't know that it's true. We can make choices and try to influence the outcome the exact way we want it to be, but it's probably not going to be a thing, right? We're probably not going to make all the decisions we need to get us exactly what we want. But that's the beauty of it, because if you're rolling with the punches, and you are responding to these things without your traumatized brain getting in the way, aka your little child self that says you ain't supposed to take this and you will not take this. If we're rolling the way we need to, we're growing and we're learning. So if you are more anxiously attached, like I've explained in terms of my lean, I give up pieces of myself because I don't want to feel the abandonment. I don't want to lose friendship. I don't want to make sure, I want to make sure that I don't lose like the respect of my colleagues, whatever it may be, my children. Then how am I going to adjust so that I can do that? So we talked about giving up pieces of yourself to have this illusion of peace. And so now I want to kind of take that a little bit further. As a reminder, the journal prompt from that week was like, what pieces of you have you given up, I believe, of yourself to keep that peace? And now I just want to know, and you can tell me now in the chat or later on, let's engage, when you watch the replay, where have you been adjusting yourself to make others comfortable? It's another way of saying, what are you giving up? What pieces of yourself are you giving up to have that peace? So the adjustment is great, right? You want to try to shift and move and kind of roll with the punches so that you are making sure that your needs are taken care of, and at the same time adjusting. If I look at everything on a spectrum, it may be unhealthy. I've adjusted so much that I put walls up. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't trust people, right? That could also be a thing. So that kind of adjusting, I understand, as a trauma response. Remember, we're not shaming the fact that you needed something in place to make sure that you were okay, because you didn't want to experience the feelings of the perceived threat because you felt that pain before. You don't want to feel that. So I understand, even if I go back, just to be very clear, I know that I'm a threat to your safety even now. I'm asking you to adjust the way that you have done things for many years to stay safe in the relationships that you have, to see yourself a certain way, because some people don't want to hold that mirror up, myself included, because I don't know what I'm going to see. How many of us have been running from ourselves? So I want to normalize, like, I get the adjustment piece can be very scary because I'm asking you to do something different, something that goes against your very tunnel vision survival mode mind, because that's exactly what it is. That kind of adjusting is not the same as healing. When we're putting up the walls and we're ignoring people and all those things, it's a survival mode, and survival is one track. Gotta get alive, gotta get to the next thing. So as we're opening up this discussion today, I'm curious about what you have been giving up, adjusting yourself to make other people comfortable. There are certain memes I've seen and, Instagram little reels or whatever that have told me, people don't like what you do, who you are, what you stand for, and you're adjusting to make yourself more palatable. No, we're not doing that anymore. Like, let them choke. Don't shrink. Be at this table and be who you are, right? Like, adjust your mindset from that piece of I will never have, that poverty mindset that says you will never have enough, you will never be enough, you can be too much and not enough at the same time, right? So I just want to clarify that adjusting is taking care of yourself. Self-care is such a buzzword, and I do get that. And it's also like preserving and protecting your peace, your energy, and your priorities, which we're going to get into when we talk about enforcing boundaries next week. When you are prioritizing yourself, we know that you are able to handle certain conversations, being in certain settings. And as you are doing the work, ain't it funny how life is going to keep doing what it does, however that looks for you? And if you're doing some change and you've grounded yourself, you've re-skipped some things, you've connected to healthy people, you have enforced these boundaries per the grace method, right? The way I like to say, you've done all these things, and then like you're going back to the old world. Like, how does that help you make the shifts that you need to make? So that is what we're going to talk about, is the fact that rescripting from last week, when we got into what your thoughts are, rescripting is what you believe, is what you've told yourself. Your body has downloaded these messages, honey. Your body said, guess what? When I'm with someone who makes me feel like undervalued, makes me feel like I am nothing and nobody, and that my ideas are not enough, or whatever the case may be, then my body has downloaded that feeling. And you don't even have to think about it sometimes. It just responds and says, this is what we do in situations like that. It's so powerful, y'all. It's so deeply rooted. So your rescripting is what you believe. That's what we talked about last week and how to start that process. Adjusting is what you do. It's the action piece. It's addressing that fact that says, okay, this is a trigger. Something happened. My body is tingling. This is why it's so important to know in the grounding stage when you're doing this mindfulness work and really getting in tune with how your body responds to its threats around it to make you feel like you're a certain way. Um, Today, for a perfect example, went to go get some food real quick for lunch. It took me like 20, 30 minutes longer than it had to. And if you watch my stories today, you already know what happened. But for those of you who did not, I ordered a sandwich for my coworker and on the other order for myself. And they just completely botched it. And I was like, what does this make? Why is this a thing? Right? In my mind, right? My original, because I wasn't necessarily grounded, right? I was aware enough, but again, awareness is not always enough. So I had to sit and say, like, why is this really bothering me? So in my mind, I said, okay, I know she heard me. She's probably new, but that ain't my problem. It's hot here in South Carolina in summertime. I don't care. Figure it out. I'm hungry. So I had to figure like out how to give the grace that I know I would like somebody to give me. Like she looked new, right? Like I know she ain't me no harm, that poor thing. But I'm thinking like there are times where people I know they heard what I had to say in this meeting. I looked you dead in your face and told you that I don't appreciate that. Or I have said to my kids 1,000 times what not to do, what my expectations are. I have told you that I wanted a text at this time to make sure that you're safe. Whatever your expectation is for whatever relationship you're in, we have that thing. So I'm in the drive-through and I'm thinking about how all these things are going down. She's trying to play me, whatever it is. And so before it got to be too much, I came to the couch crew. I shared a story. I was accountable for myself, and I did what I needed to do to bring myself down. Because the old belief was, oh, she don't think that you're good enough or that you're smart enough to hear what I said. The order was this much. This is what I'm going to do for you. And in my mind, I was like, I know what I told you. I know what the situation is. So it's like I'm coming from this place of defensiveness. There's a wall up and totally unnecessary at the drive-through. Doesn't make any sense. I had to rescript that belief, remind myself she don't know me, which doesn't always matter, but she's not coming after me. How many times have you been in a situation where you just feel like everybody's coming for you? Those are messages you got to rescript, right? The world is after me. I need to do it. Nobody else would do it. If I don't do it, nobody would do it right. Whatever that narrative is, like I had to get into bringing myself down and grounding myself enough to know that my emotions were taking over. And you cannot trust your emotions contrary to popular belief. They are fickle, they change all the time. I read some research about how emotions stay in your body for 90 seconds. That's it. That's why rescripting is so important. If you are thinking about something, if you still feel a way physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally about a situation, that thought is fueling the physical and emotional feelings, right? The thing has happened. Your feelings have gone through your body. It's because we feel so many different things. There are so many emotions on the feelings wheel that, of course, they're going to cycle through. But they only stay for a while. We process them, like I said last week, through our right brain, and then that's it. How do you adjust so that you are getting to using that logic along with your emotions to make the next move you need to make? That's what tonight is about. How do you adjust? You have to make a different move. So today I just sat there and waited for my food. I said, I'm not going to sit here and have this moment where I think somebody's trying to play me. It's not what I'm on. And it did help me preserve my energy because it was hot. And I had to think, obviously, practically. It's not about me. This girl is trying to learn her job. I need to calm down. What situations have you dealt with where you felt like it was about you when it shouldn't have been? It's not always about us. And I could have ruined that girl's day, but I did not. I had to drop my shoulders like I just did and get to a place where I was okay. I am thinking about this part here in my notes. I'm thinking about this adjustment versus abandoning yourself. Um, if we are overextending ourselves, like I said, giving pieces of ourselves to have a certain level of calm, and we are giving of ourselves when we're not getting things back, Like I could have told myself, and probably to some degree was saying, I've already paid you. I've already given you everything that I had, that I was willing to spend. In a relationship, it could be the same way. I've already given you these things. So then, you know what? I could have said, just to avoid it, I'll just charge it again. I'm ready to go. Because I don't want to be confrontational. Sometimes our scripts tell us we're not good or strong enough or smart enough to handle a confrontation when really we have to adjust that mindset. As you can see, we're talking about rescripting and adjusting the mindset and the action behind your belief. If I believe, you know what, I am not going to ruin this girl's day because I'm actually a good person, I will be okay, I will eat, it'll be fine, it's a first world problem. If I believe that, then my action behind it is adjusting my response to her. I'm protecting younger self and showing her, remember, younger self is the person that has seen the most trauma in your life. That's likely when everything pretty big happened during formative years. I have to show younger self who likes to make those decisions for me and stand up for me, Ray Ray, remember? I have to show her there are different ways for me to feel safe outside of me being so rah rah, right? Like we don't have to do that. So how are you adjusting? What do you think you need to adjust? Because otherwise, you're abandoning that piece of you that really needs to rest. And I have this conversation about the grace method with lots of people. Um, we're not, burnout comes out a lot. So we're not talking about burnout solutions. Like, I'm not trying to erase everything because I do think that they could serve as red flags if you're getting into what it is that you could pay more attention to feed yourself. We're talking about a mindset shift. So it's building upon, again, rescripting. If we're making this adjustment where we're doing something different and, again, putting action behind the rescripting, the body language, the way that we sit, how we react, it's all about changing. Remember, I told y'all we go into triggering situations as a therapist. One of the reasons why I do not prefer to treat children is because I know they're going back to the same triggering situation, and it almost feels like a so like what's the point, right? It's just one of my things. I bring that up now because I consider what's the point of me doing all this work, and you've seen me talk about it on my page before. I'm so glad that we are doing all this work and all the things, and at the same time, if we're going back to do the same things, it's almost like, I mean, same environment, we're taking our new self into the old environment. It's almost like you kind of keep your old bay in your back pocket because you don't want to be alone. I've heard people tell me that before. There are certain situations where you may keep a sneaking link because you just can't be without this particular part of the relationship. Maybe the D is that great, which I've actually heard. Okay. I have to keep a backup. When are you going to let go of the backup? Because that's a lot of baggage to catch up. And as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself, right? Like I have old money habits that are not going to take me to where I want to go. So, what adjustments are you going to make? Per usual, I'm going to leave you with a journal prompt. And hopefully, these have been helpful. Again, come find me if you want to and engage in the chat and start a conversation. Comments if you're watching later with what you found out about yourself. So, where do you need to adjust? That is the first journal prompt. I'm going to ask you to consider, where do I need to adjust? Not shrink, not disappear, not lose my voice. Where do I need to adjust? Is it a precursor to setting a boundary with people, places, and things you know are not going to help you get to where you want to be? This could also segue to a question about an inventory of things you know you should, quote unquote, give up because it's not aligned with where you want to go and who you are becoming, and just kind of knocking that off one by one, which I could tell you about, more in like the Grace Gap workshop, like the private cohort. We really kind of get into that kind of thing. Then the other journal prompt I want you to consider, should you accept the challenges, what would it feel like to prioritize my needs without an apology? Like just being you. If you could do something and it was like, no shame, nobody was going to come over and like point the finger and wag at you, like what would you put first? If it's you and it feels weird that is you put yourself first, whatever, go with that. That says a lot. right? This is your journal. This is what you want to do with it. And if this resonates with you, then I want to formally invite you guys to your Grace Space series. It's like where we go and we hop on a call from wherever you are. And I really wanted to ramp this up again because these conversations get so good. I learned so much from you guys because you have so much life experience, and then I bring mine and my clinical expertise. And there's so much collaboration across generations, across life stages, right? Like just different things that we can share with each other. So whether I've been invited to come into a group, or I am starting my own again and trying to get back into this private sector of like some intense conversations that will help move the needle, like that's what I want to get back to. So it's worked so great before, and I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm going to drop it again. I would love to do it like once a quarter. So the other thing that I want to do is make sure that for those of you who are new, especially, right, I want to give you a chance to get to know me. You can do that in my content, but then there's this vibe that we got to catch. So I'm going to just throw out there that I would love to offer a free 30-minute coaching session to someone who is really ready to take this next step. So you can DM or comment below if you're open to going live with me to talk through it, because I want to give you a private sesh for about half an hour, and then allow you to be real about like the vibe check. Like let the people know, because this is not going to work without you being there. So I'm going to be dropping some little stuff on my social media here on Facebook and on Instagram, so you guys know how you can get the early bird prices to join this group for 4 dedicated weeks, y'all. It's only going to be great if you guys show up and you're consistent for yourself, and that is so much fun. If you want to be coached by me for free for 30 minutes here in the next couple of weeks, send me a message. I would love to do that with you. And we can talk about what that can look like for you to go live here on these platforms with me and share with everyone else like what your experience was. Nothing deep and dark, because that's your business. I really just want people to understand how coaching works, and you can be a part of demonstrating and letting the people know who probably wouldn't have thought about doing this. Like they got to hear from more than me. So I just wanted to open that up. I hope to hear from you guys later on. You can see I have been working intentionally to cut these videos down so that I'm not before you long. I think I've done a good job. We got into adjusting. Remember the shift. The shift is about putting action behind rescripting and telling yourself something different, right? Next week we're going to get into the real kind of like ending piece, the book end to the grace method, and that is enforcing proper boundaries, because we've talked about connection already. I put that at the top of our Grace Method workshop because that was my grace gap. And if you don't know what your grace gap is, it is in the link in my bio. It is pinned here in this comment section and Facebook Live. When you watch the replay, it will be there. Go take the 7-question quiz. Get to know what it is that you are missing in terms of the areas of improvement. Do you do really well at grounding yourself, but then not so great at connecting with people? You take the quiz, you'll get your result, and then you'll get some helpful tips and tricks to kind of work through that on your own. And then you can bring it to the Grace Gap Live. You can come and let us know in the chat. You can go join the cohort when I open up the doors for that. I'm so excited about it. Be here, be ready so that you guys can join and collaborate together. I have been Christian Jackson. Super excited that y'all have been here with me. Thank you for rolling, and thank you for watching. I watch my insights and it's been really good. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Bye, IG. Oh my God, am I still alive? I'm so sorry. Allergies, right?